Hello.
Yeah, hi. So I have gone through your all your codes and you're a writer, right? You're a writer.
I am, yes.
Do you have a blog?
I do have a blog. I've had a blog for a couple of years now, but I think for a while I just posted the occasional one on my blog, but recently I decided to branch out and now I've got all my poems on Instagram.
Okay. What is your blog is about?
My blog, I've had my blog since university. It's a little bit about everything. It's about my life. It's about writing. At one point, I did some reviews, book reviews, poetry, but now I've decided to start an Instagram. I started it. What month are we in now? August. I started it in March, and I just started posting my poetry on there.
Okay. So can you introduce yourself to my audience before talking about you?
Sorry.
Can you introduce yourself to my audience?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at this. I'm Emma-Jane, I'm 27 and I'm from the UK and I'm a poet and a writer. That's me in a nutshell,
Okay.
really.
So when you started writing,
When did I start writing? I always say I started writing poetry at the age of 5 because I felt like even that young I started creating images and things in my mind. I have a little box under my bed that's got poems in, and I think I wrote my first one when I was about 7. So
okay.
pretty much my whole life.
So what you got when you know how the writing helped you in your life? What is the benefits and advantages that you got from
I
writing?
think I think writing for me is therapeutic. I think no matter what you go through in life, if you've got a piece of paper and a pen, you can write about it and instantly you feel better. And for the last sort of 10 years of my life, I've suffered with mental health issues. So having that outlet and being able to write about it is something that was really helpful to me because even though I weren't sharing those poems with anyone at the time, they were just for me.
Who is your best? I mean, who is your favorite poet?
Oh, modern poet or
Modern
mm,
poets.
I think if you're talking about the great poets, I think William Wordsworth, um, Walt Whitman, two of my very favourites, Emily Dickinson. But I think modern poets, I really like Victoria Erickson at the minute. I've just purchased two of her books today. I really like her.
Okay. So, what is your favorite book?
Ooh, what is my favourite book of all time?
Yeah.
Mm, probably To Kill a Mockingbird. Have you ever read that book?
Okay. What is it about?
To Kill a Mockingbird. I can't really explain what it's about. You put me on the spot now. um, it's quite deep. It's one of those books that you read and it makes you think about a lot of different things, and you always end up going back and reading it again. I think I've read it about at least 30 times.
Oh my God. Okay.
It's so
So,
good. Just read it.
I will go through this after this video. I'll just search it in Google. So I have gone through your codes. Let me read some things so that my audience will also know what you write. And yeah, so yeah, Emma-Jane Barlow is your full name.
Emma-Jane Barlow, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, paper heart. You caught my heavy teardrops, gently held my paper heart stayed as I lived through my fires because you loved me. Can you explain this?
I've been taking part in a lot of different competitions on Instagram to try different forms of poetry that I've not done before. And this was a type of Japanese poetry where you have to have 7 syllables in the first 3 lines and 5 syllables in the last one. But that particular poem is about my relationship with a person that I've been with for 10 and a half years. and it's kind of a little love note to him to say thank you for being there for me, even though I was going through all those hard times.
Okay. Nice.
I know it's
And
quite deep, but the best poems are deep, aren't they?
okay, so a poet is before anything else. A person is who is a person who is passionately in love with language. W.H. Auden.
So that's one of the many poetry quotes I like to share on my page because I like to share my poetry. I like to share quotes from other poets and things like that. So they're not my words. That's just a quote that I like because I think first and foremost a poet is someone who's in love with language, and I could definitely say that that applies to me. I love language. I always have done.
Okay, I can see all the black and white pictures. Why you choose only black and white?
There is a reason for that. Um, I feel like I'm plugging my book a little bit, but I've got a book coming out this year called Darkness and Light, which is being written as we speak. I think I've got about 80 poems in it, and it's sort of both sides of my life for the last 7 years. So the darkness explores my depression, mental health issues, bad things I've gone through, and the light is sort of coming through that and about gratitude and love and friendship and all the nice things. So the idea behind the black and white on my Instagram is that idea of darkness and light. So it's kind of like an aesthetic to do with that.
Okay,
And everything looks good in black and white.
this is a cycle. One picture is a cycle. Okay, first line poets project. Is this your photo? The black and white?
Yeah, the first line poets, I can speak about that a little bit. Oh, yeah, that is me. That is me. That's on a beach in Portugal. But the first
Okay.
line poets is something that I started a couple of months ago because I've always felt like poetry is something that's quite a solitary activity that you do by yourself. And I
Okay.
wanted to change that. So I started this project on Instagram, and there's 63 writers altogether. And they're from India, America, Canada, Australia, the UK. And it's kind of a little project that I've started where I team writers up together and they give a first line each to inspire a poem. So I've been doing
Okay.
that for the last couple 2 months now. I think I've been doing that for, and it is
Okay.
a lot
How?
of fun.
Okay. So people from different countries have different sensibilities, right?
Hmm.
They'll be observing different things with their eyes and with their ears and with their all the five senses. So the collected information will never match one country's person collected information will never match with country's collected information. So you will be connecting with different country people. So what is the difference that you observe?
I think what's really nice is poetry is a very personal thing, and a lot of poets write about their experiences, including myself. And I think what's really nice about First Line Poets Group is you've got people from different writing abilities, people from different backgrounds, people that live in um, deprived areas, people that live in cities. And I think what's really nice is giving them a chance to work with someone that they wouldn't usually work with. So I might have a different perspective on something than someone who lives in India like yourself. Or it could be that I work with someone who's only been writing for a couple of months during lockdown, whereas I've been writing my whole life and I can give them a little bit of guidance. So I really like this community I've started, and I like the fact that I can speak to like-minded people that just get it because a lot of people don't understand poets. We
Yeah.
think in metaphors, we get an idea, we have to run around and write it down in the middle of the night. And what's really nice is to have like 60 new friends, which is great.
When what is the best time uh, you write? I mean, in what time you'll write?
It varies really, but I think I find I write better in the evening than in the morning. I am not a morning person. It takes
Okay.
me a while to wake up. So I think if you let me, I'd probably stay up until early hours of the morning writing. And sometimes I need to be reminded, right, it's time to go to bed now. But my brain is just thinking of poems and all sorts of other things. So I think there's something magical about writing at night time.
Okay. So, how many people got connected with your way of thinking?
Say that again, sorry.
How many people got connected with your way of thinking?
How many people connect with my way of thinking? I'm not quite sure. I think everyone's different when it comes to the writing. Some people, I think I put a post on my Instagram a while ago and asked people what their writing preference is. And some people sit and write in a notebook. Some people write it on the phone. Some people, write it on an iPad. Some people are still using typewriters, which I have got a typewriter, but I don't really use it. I think I've kind of swapped over to technology a little bit, which isn't great. So a lot of the time I write on the note, the note app on your phone.
Yeah, yeah.
But then sometimes if it's something where it's a long poem that I want to write in a stream of consciousness I want to get out, I do write it in a notebook. But sometimes I feel like my hands are not quick enough for my brain. I don't write quick enough. So sometimes I do just type it on my phone. But it really
Uh,
just depends on when the inspiration strikes.
what is your inspiration?
I think I'm inspired a lot by nature. I like to include nature a lot in my poems, even if they're about something like mental health. I like to talk about the stars and fire and things like that. And I like to make my poems relatable, but at the same time I want there to be a little bit of me in there. So it's about my personal experience because I found that when you write a poem, it's for you. But then when you share it into the world, somebody else will have their own interpretation of what it's about. So what I'm doing at the moment is editing my collection and thinking, is there a way I can make that a little bit more vague, so someone can get it? Because I think there's one of my poems in particular, it's very personal to me, and even though I love it the way it is, I think if somebody else reads it, it's just too much of me in there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think it's trying to get that balance of having it a relatable poem for someone to feel something when they read it, but to be about your own life. And I tend to just write about everything that happens in my life. Change all the names and places, but if you know me, you're probably in one of my poems.
Can I see nature in your poems?
Yeah, there is a lot of nature in my poems. I've recently put a few on my page. I've started doing video poetry, which is quite
Okay.
fun.
Yeah.
And I've done one about trees and waterfalls and things like that, which is quite nice because I think there are so many poems out there about waterfalls and trees, but I think what makes it unique is your perspective of that because every poet sees things differently.
Where do you stay exactly?
Where do I live?
Yes.
I live in the UK, just outside of Manchester. I don't know if you would have heard of it.
I don't know.
No, very rainy city. I think a lot of the time when you say UK, people are like London, and I'm like, no, I don't live anywhere near London. The UK is quite a large place, really, but yeah, I live in a little town outside of Manchester in the UK.
When you saw my videos, you gave me very positive response, a good uh, words. You have used beautiful words to explain my work. At the same time, I did the same when I saw your work. And can you tell me, because of the place where you are living, because of the place I am living, we have different perspectives and different things to explain. That is why the reason we got connected and talking like this by seeing each other.
Yeah, I think it's really nice to connect with somebody who's from a different part of the world and a different way of life. And a while ago, a girl in South Africa messaged me and she said she'd seen my poetry and she wanted to learn how to write poetry. So connecting with her and teaching her English and teaching her how to write a poem when we wrote a poem together was really nice, because we didn't just speak about poetry, we spoke about our lives and how they're different. And I think seeing how she lived her life and what her home was like compared to mine, it made me feel overwhelmed with gratitude, for what I had, because I think sometimes you don't really think about it. You don't really think about the fact you've got a roof over your head and food in your fridge, and it's not something that you think about every day. But working with her and speaking to her made me really grateful for what I did have, because she's from a different way of life and she's from a different area of the world.
Tell me about vocabulary.
Say that again.
Tell me about vocabulary.
My vocabulary.
Yeah.
I think what I like to do is I like to always explore new words, and I've actually got a thesaurus right here on my desk.
Okay.
So I'm always exploring new ways to write things. But I also think sometimes that when I write poetry, I don't want it to be too complicated. I want it to
Okay.
be simple. I want it to be simple enough for people to read it and understand the meaning without it having too many fancy words in it, if that makes sense. But I think simple is beautiful when it comes to vocabulary. There's certain words that they don't need changing. They're just beautiful the way they are. But I think English is such a beautiful language, and I think because English is my native language, I can't really understand how hard it must be for someone to learn English, because it is quite a complicated language. But I've always wanted to speak other languages as well, but I'm just not very
Okay.
good at it.
How much time you spent on thinking about writing and on writing both?
I think I'm quite fortunate at the moment because I've just landed a freelance writing job. So I spend my days writing and getting paid to do that. And then when I'm not doing that, I'm writing my poetry. So
Okay.
at the moment, writing is pretty much my whole day, my whole night, which is great. I did teaching for a little while, and I found when I was being a teacher, I didn't have time to write anymore. I didn't have the space in my brain for it. But when I left teaching, it all started to just come flooding back, the creativity. So it's
Okay.
great that I get paid to write, but I also do it because I love it, and it's great. I just spend my whole day doing what I want to do, which is great.
So now you are writing, you are spending a lot of time on writing.
A lot of time, yeah. Pretty much that's all I do. Apart from sometimes I'll have a break and read a book or watch Netflix. I think we all do that, don't we? You have to have a break.
So speaking or writing, with which you can connect with people more?
I think it's easy to connect with people on Instagram, which is what I really like about it. Because before I started this Instagram, I would write a poem and I'd put it in a notebook and put it on a shelf and it would stay there. So
Okay.
there was no connection with other people. It was just my poetry. There it was. But in the lockdown, I decided to just post a couple online. I didn't have a lot of confidence in myself that it would go anywhere. And what I really liked is there's a big supportive community on Instagram for
Okay.
poetry. And it's like when you get a little notification and someone's commented on your poem and they've said, "Oh, beautiful poem." And I think it took a while, but my confidence was going up and up and up. And I thought, oh, people like my work. And I think it's a nice platform to have, because you can post a poem and someone can comment on it. And then you could go and check their page out and think, oh, their poems are amazing. I'm going to follow them. And I've been in a situation where I've read a poem on Instagram. I've just been scrolling and I've stopped, looked at a poem, read it, and it's just been like I've been speechless reading it. And there's just so much talent on Instagram, and I think it makes me sad sometimes that these people don't have books out for me to read. They're like,
Yeah.
get a book out. But I think that's why I've decided to self-publish and put a book on
Okay.
Amazon finally, because I've been planning to do it for a few years now, because I'm not really interested about making money, because poets don't make any money.
Yeah.
It's more about getting my work out there and people reading my work. I think that's what it's all about.
Can you explain me
Can I explain you?
using your own words?
Explaining you in one word,
In your own words.
in my own words. Creative, ambitious. I think you're really ambitious to be doing these videos and to be speaking to people and connecting with all these people. And you've made me feel really comfortable, because I've only done one other video and I was really, really nervous, because this is not really in my comfort zone. I'm quite an introverted person. I think a lot of writers are. And I think it's getting in touch with this new world of video chat and seeing people like this. But yeah, I really like your page and I really like what you're doing.
So speaking, people connect with each other, but writing, how many people are connecting with you?
Well, I think last time I checked, I think I'm about 50 followers away from 2,000 followers, which is beyond what I thought would be
Okay.
possible at this point, because
Okay.
I've only had my page for a short amount of time.
Okay. So do you have anything to say to the people who watches this video?
Please check out my page. I love you forever. And also, please check out the First Line Poets, because they're all incredible, amazing writers, and I'm so happy to call them all friends.
Okay. So thank you so much for giving your time,
Oh,
your
thank you very much.
energy and your experience about writing. Thank you so much. I want you to write more and I want you to connect to a lot of people in the world. And I'm sure with this video, you'll connect with Indians too. The people who are from this country will definitely know you and try to search you for sure. So, can I
Oh, thank
put this video on my YouTube channel with your permission?
you. Yes, of course you can.
Okay, thank you so much again.
Thank you. It was lovely to meet you.
Me too.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.